are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Naomi Slater, and you have tuned in to Divine Couples, adding intimacy, passion, and healing to your lives. SOLEIMAN BOLOUR is a sex and intimacy coach for men and couples. He weaves Neo-Tantra and NLP techniques to support his clients transform their lives, living an empowered life and spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Hi, SOLEIMAN. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So, SOLEIMAN, you are a men's sex and intimacy coach. Can you tell us how you support men in their sexuality?
Sure. So I think the basis of teaching men how to look at sex in a different way, that it's not just the end goal of, ooh, I had sex, I had a release, yay, good for me. But giving them a whole holistic approach to it's a way of life, living in the moment, taking it slowly, also learning how to have sort of better orgasms, last longer, make it more enjoyable for yourself as well as your partner, not making it just about you. And so I take them through different techniques and give them different exercises so they can really awaken their body.
Oh, thank God for you, SOLEIMAN.
Thanks.
The women are thanking you all over the world.
Thanks.
For real. So maybe you could tell us about your personal journey to becoming a sex coach.
Yeah. So when I was in my 20s, I took all these personal, for a good 3 years, I took these personal growth workshops that were all about emotion and your mind, right? It's like, what's your mind doing? Let's release it. And what's your emotion doing? Great. And after doing that for 3 years, I was like, well, what about the sex? I was like, something's missing here for me. So I started to just got curious, and I found my way to Tantra and didn't stop. So for the next 17 years, I've been deep dive into sacred sexuality, Neo-Tantra, anything that I could get my hands on, literally and figuratively speaking, and just practicing and learning and really educating myself on what is really, what's the body, what's sex, what's connection. And I think the other thing that also led me down this path was just being very curious about, my sexual orientation of I loved women, but there's also something about men, and I didn't know how to sort of allow myself to be accepting of that. And so Neo-Tantra really helped me to realize that it's bodies.
You're a sexual being.
That's it. So really enjoying what is in front of me versus, oh, this is who they are, this is what they look like, or et cetera, et cetera.
And where did you study? I'm curious about kind of more specifics on your journey.
So my first program was Absolute Tantra Kriya Yoga. My teacher was Bodhi Avinash, and she was really it was sort of a combo, very, very, very rooted tantric lineage study, and a lot of Neo-Tantra as well, because there's a lot of, so the difference between Neo-Tantra and Tantra that I always want to distinguish is the idea that Tantra is a very, very big, broad study of esoterics about, how to live life. And then the West has taken it and made it very sexualized. And so I want to differentiate I'm a Neo-Tantra practitioner and not a Tantra practitioner. I don't have a guru. I don't really, I know some stuff about Tantra, but not fully.
Yeah.
So a lot of my study has been Neo-Tantra, and that was my first teacher. And then I've studied with Dawn Cartwright, she's been my teacher for probably more than 6 years. And then, different like Charu Morgan, I've done her programs. Who else can I say? I mean, the list, sometimes I'm like, who did I study from? Yeah.
You've been doing it for a long time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you help men become better partners and lovers? What do you do?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love that.
Mm.
So I think that I was actually on a call right now with a man. Actually, it was a free session. I was coaching him. And the thing that I'm realizing that a lot of men really, really need to recognize and learn is it's very simple. It's called breath, sound, movement. And
Yeah.
right? I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that I wish more and more men realized when it comes to not just life, but like not just lovemaking, but life in general is number one, are you breathing? Like,
Maybe not.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a funny thing to say. And yeah, are you truly breathing? Like, are you breathing consciously? Like when you're in with your partner?
Yeah.
And then sound, are you, because a lot of men, what they do is we hold our sound. And I used
Well,
to be that way.
the women do that too.
There you go. So I guess it's not just men, but we all need it. We all need sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sound. So sounding is really important. And then obviously movement, right? So what a lot of us do is when we're afraid, we hold our breath, don't make much noise, and we don't move. I mean, it's a fight or flight response, right? It's natural. And so how can we expect energy to move through our body if we're not breathing, if we're not making sound or moving? So that's basically my foundation of teaching all men. The first thing that I tell them is like, are you breathing, sounding, and moving?
Yeah. Yeah, this is also what I teach. How interesting. I just put out a video where I specifically talk about those three things and how that can really lead into creating intimate, passionate lovemaking. Because without that, you're just like a piece of cardboard. You know, how can you really
Yeah.
be a passionate lovemaker if you're not doing those three things consciously?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's fantastic. And from my experience, women really, really need to do this too. So it's definitely something that is crossing genders in terms of really, really mastering those three things. And I would love for you to talk about semen retention and why men should practice it. Mm-hmm.
Love it, love it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I will share from my own experience that, well, okay, coming from a background of porn, I was addicted to porn, and really taking myself through a journey of really letting go of that addiction and coming to a space of really recognizing, number one, what is my semen? It's life force. Okay, so really recognizing that it's life force energy that I am releasing. So I'm not like, as men, when we release our semen, what we're doing is we actually, I'd say for the majority of us, we get tired, right? When we release semen, we lose energy. And so that's one reason to sort of hold it and not release it. So that's number one. Number two, I would say that if you want better, like if you want to feel more energy in your body, if you want to feel more ecstatic energy, hold your semen. Because a lot of the times what happens is, let's say you're in a lovemaking session and you release, the refractory period for a lot of men, some men can take a couple of hours. A lot of men are maybe quicker. For me, it takes a good day. Like I'm not a person to be able to jump right in once I've released. So for me, lovemaking, I love to just hold as long as I can. And it's more exciting to me. I'm more aroused. I'm more excited. I can play longer. I can last longer. And so for me, it's more about how long do I want to play with my partner. And not only that, I also enjoy, I like to have the vital force energy still within me. So there are times when I'll be in a lovemaking and I don't actually come for a couple of weeks on end because I enjoy having the energy within my body to stay there.
Yeah, my husband also practices that, And I find that when he's practicing semen retention for weeks, which he does, that I find myself being way more magnetically pulled to him. Like I'm way more attracted because he's retaining that energy. And it creates this really strong polarity between us, which is really sexy.
Oh, I like it. Nice.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's really powerful also for the woman when her lover knows how to retain his semen.
Yes, especially during lovemaking, when during penetration specifically. It's amazing to know that I have, and I don't want to use necessarily the word control, because it's not I'm not necessarily controlling it, because what I'm doing is I'm playing with the rhythm of my body. I'm breathing. I'm knowing when I'm close to slow down. I know when I'm about to hit the edge, so I either pull out or whatever it is. It's just really recognizing and being sort of in tune with my body.
Yeah, and also I think at a certain point, in order to quote unquote control it, which is not even really controlling, like you said, you have to actually relax, which is the opposite of control.
Well said. Yes. Nice.
Yeah, that's what he, I, obviously don't do this practice because I don't, release semen. But what he experiences is that the more that he's able to actually relax through breath, sound, and movement, the easier it is for him to not ejaculate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And also for women, for a lot of women, it actually takes quite a while to reach orgasm and to really feel this kind of deep pleasure through penetration. And if their guys are, just or blowing it after like a minute, the women are just not really going to feel satisfied.
Yeah.
So both.
Yes.
It's much better for both when the guys practice semen retention. But when I speak to men about it, about semen retention, they feel as though the whole point of sex has been taken away from them. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I've heard that as well. And I think that we need a re-education of what sex is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, so there's a couple of ways we can go about this, right? One is if you practice semen retention, what if I were to tell you that you can actually have an orgasm without ejaculating, right? That is possible. Yes, there's many teachers that teach this. I teach this to I've done it myself. I practice it, and it's possible. I want to it sort of make sure that people realize that yes, the sort of like the orgasm that you're having is not the same as an ejaculation orgasm, but it is one and the same in a sense of where you can actually have an orgasm, a full body orgasm, which feels amazing, and you actually. I actually feel a lot more alive than when I do an ejaculation orgasm. And so it's possible. So why not practice that? Why not live that sort of lifestyle where you can keep your semen and have the sort of desired sort of quote unquote release or energetic release that you want in your body. Now, for those men that think that they're getting something taken away, let's rethink like what's the purpose of our semen? Procreation. So if you feel that if you are using it to procreate, great, have at it. Release as much as you want. Right?
Have lots of babies.
Have lots of babies, right? Go for it. More power to you. On the other hand, if it's for the purposes of feeling some sort of release,